My friend David Randolph from Printed Solid joins us to talk 3D printers. All that and more this time on Hak5. Hello everyone, my name is Shannon Morris. Welcome to your weekly dose of Technolust Hak5. I am joined today by my wonderful friend who I haven't seen in ages. Hi! It's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
This is David Randolph. He goes way back with us, like many, many days. But before we get into your story, I want to remind our fans out there and our viewers that we've got a 30-day security challenge over at youtube.com/techthing that you can check out. Really fun, full 30 days worth of videos about all sorts of different security related things. Great for consumers, so really easy to get into and kind of get started on security. And we're also running a contest over at hak5.org/contest. It's still going for a few more days throughout the month of November, so check that out if you're interested in winning some free $100 gift certificates for the Hak5 shop. That's a big deal.
Impressive.
And Metasploit Minute with Mubix. He's coming back. youtube.com/Hak5 is where you can check out that entire show. But David, I want to know what's been going on, because we go way back. I mean, I remember the days when I was watching you on System, but we also worked kind of together through Discovery, Discovery Digital Networks, which is our the company that we're networked with on YouTube. But you've been doing a lot since then, right?
I have been all over the place. I used to also work for Discovery Communications as one of their engineers there.
Yeah.
And on the side, I was actually running a laser cutting business, laser cutting enclosures and 3D printer parts.
Yeah, okay.
And that business got so big that I actually made that into its own separate company and was doing that full time.
Wow.
And then it got so big after that, I had to consolidate down. I actually joined with my buddy Matt Gordon, and he owns Printed Solid.
Okay.
And I sold my company into that, and now I'm co-owners of Printed Solid.
Nice. Okay, cool. So back in the day, you guys might remember there was a time when we were doing episodes of Hak5 out of a garage. That was David's garage when Darren first moved out here to California, and then since then you started up PrintedSolid.com with your co-owners. So you've been doing a ton of stuff behind the scenes. Like, it's been a while since we got up.
It's been a while. It's been about 4 or 5 years now.
Gosh.
And I've been all over. In fact, I'm all the way over in the East Coast now.
Yeah.
In
you
Newark,
moved to
Delaware.
Delaware, right?
Yes.
Oh, how interesting.
Delaware. But it's a great place for the business to be located because it lets me get to New York, down to DC, and anywhere in between, and actually be physically there, because there's a lot of makers there. There's a lot of hacker spaces. There's a lot of community projects. There's a lot of fun government projects.
Yeah.
And we get to play with all those people, as well as do a lot of education.
Okay, education. So tell me, what does Printed Solid do? I know that you sell filament and stuff like that, but what else do you do?
Well, we sell the filaments, we sell the printers. We actually have in-store classes where we actually teach people the intro to 3D printing. We have an advanced 3D printing. We even have a Octoprint class that we teach there as well. Octoprint. So we use it as a basis to teach people a little bit about Raspberry Pi and get them started on Linux.
Got it. And you're going to teach me more about that in a future series,
absolutely.
Right? Or a segment?
Absolutely.
Sweet. Yes, that's going to be fun.
And we also do a lot of manufacturing there. We actually have a separate warehouse where we do laser cutting manufacturing.
Wow.
And we do a lot of 3D printer enclosures. And we also do a really interesting project. We do medical medical jigs for operating rooms. So it's a really cool industry to be in.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So we've done a lot of that for a lot of people. We've done some other companies that can't talk about the product we make for them, but we've actually do manufacturing for extremely niche companies as well. For 3D printing and laser cutting as well.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because our specialty is filaments. It's not just plastics anymore. There's a lot of really unique materials out there.
Like what?
Well, an example is that in the old days there was just PLA and ABS, and that was it.
Yeah. That's what I remember working with back in the day. So I would constantly ask people at CES, like, oh, does your printer print ABS or PLA? Like, I knew what I was talking about.
Right, and there's so much more now. There's actually quality grade differences differences between different PLAs. There's really tough PLAs. There's PLAs that have mixes in them. An example is like this one is PLA based, but it actually has bronze in it.
Oh my gosh, that's
and
so cool.
It makes it really dense and heavy.
It's very heavy, yeah.
But it actually will shine up and have a bronze look to it.
Wow.
There's filaments that have stuff in it like wood. This actually has a wood pulp in it, so it actually will take a stain to it as well. And
really?
You can sand it with wood sandpaper.
Oh, it's so light too.
And it's really light.
Dang, cool.
So you get interesting looks.
You get shiny ones like
shiny
this.
to work
Gosh,
with.
That's gorgeous.
My favorite one is the coffee one as well.
So I might have licked that and it did not taste like coffee.
No, it does not. But let's say that you're 3D printing something and it needs to be brown, and it's early in the morning. Well, this smells like coffee while it's printing. That's the only time it smells like coffee. Its primary purpose in life is to smell like coffee while it's printing.
Really?
Yes.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Yes.
While you're here, since you're visiting for a few days, I'm going to make sure that we try this. And if it does not smell like coffee, I'm going to make you go buy me some Starbucks.
All right, that's a fair deal.
Okay.
So, and that's what I like to say is that's what makes the filament so unique these days is that you can get that specialized if you want to.
Gosh, that's so weird. Okay, so I know it's been a long time since I built my own 3D printer. I have a lot of questions about what's been happening in the 3D printer world. I've been so out of it lately. Aquanet. I have a very serious question about Aquanet. Is that still a thing?
It's still a thing, but not as much.
Oh, really?
People have moved on. There's slightly better surfaces. In the old days, it was Aquanet and Captain Tape for everything.
Yep.
And that's still kind of popular for people that are still doing ABS printing.
Okay.
But the better surface these days has always been the PEI sheet or even plain glass printing.
Oh, yeah. So what is PEI?
Well, PEI is a material that actually, when you have a heated bed, it will actually heat up and the pores kind of expand a little bit. And as you print on it, it locks whatever you're printing onto it.
Oh.
And then when it cools to room temperature, the piece will come off. Sometimes it'll even pop off and jump off the bed if you do it just right.
Whoa, that's cool.
And all that requires is you just keep it really clean. You don't have to keep applying stuff to it all the time, and it lasts a good long time.
Okay.
You maybe only have to replace it every 1,000 hours of printing.
That's awesome.
So you can get pretty far with it.
There was one thing though that I messed with back in the day, and I feel like I might have done it wrong. Acetone.
Yeah.
I wasn't really sure what I was doing, but I think I was using it incorrectly.
Well, the thing is that acetone is extremely permeable and very volatile.
Yeah.
So when you wear gloves, like the latex gloves or anything like that, it actually will go through the latex into your skin.
Oh.
And we do have trace amounts of acetone in our blood already, but when you overexpose yourself to it, there can be some medical problems from that. So if you're messing with acetone, do not do it without rubber gloves and wearing a respirator.
Oops.
So it's a good protection. I'm sure you're fine, but people that do it way too much.
Yeah.
There are people that are experimenting with ABS and acetone vapor bathing. We do that a little bit in our shop.
That sounds unhealthy.
And it's very unhealthy and very dangerous and very flammable.
Okay.
We do a little bit of it in our shop, and when I say in our shop, I mean outside in the parking lot with a fire extinguisher nearby.
Yeah. Where you get that good ventilation.
The good ventilation, and if there's a fire, which can very easily happen, you've got to be careful with it. So, and I will say this, we don't teach people how to do that because we don't want people doing that. We don't feel that it's safe enough for people to mess with.
Yeah, just skip that whole idea.
Skip that whole idea if you want to. There's other people that have done YouTube videos on it. Stay away from it if possible.
Now you mentioned fires, and I feel like lately I've seen a lot more metal printers as opposed to what I built, which was a wood printer. And is the fire issue, is that anything related to why we're not seeing wood anymore as far as 3D printers go, or is that something different?
The wood part of it is not so much about the fire, it's that wood expands and contracts with moisture and warps over time, and for a 3D printer to be very accurate, wood is a bad idea.
Yeah,
it was a great idea when we first started making 3D printers out there, and it was a good way to structure it.
Like we would laser cut them, right?
It's
and
laser
wood was
cut,
so easy to
dirt
laser
cheap.
cut.
Yeah.
And everybody could build their own 3D printer, so it was super easy.
It was super easy, and that's how it kind of got started. Was everyone was figuring out that's the fastest way to make it. Now with metal, open build, extrusion, stuff like that, it's gotten a lot easier to do pure metal 3D printers.
Oh, nice.
And you don't have to worry about the fire thing. Now, fire is still an issue with some 3D printers.
Okay.
And if you buy really kind of cheap Chinese printers, their wiring's not so good, and you can actually see a lot of stories out there about how their printer caught fire because of bad wiring.
Oh no, that's horrible.
And so you got to be careful with those. And so the higher quality printers you get, the less likely they are to catch on fire, and those companies are more concerned about that with the wiring and what have you.
So another thing I'm curious about is when I built my printer brought 3D printer, the calibration was just a nightmare. Like I could not get it right, and it was so frustrating. But I know that a lot of them are plug and play now, kind of plug and play. You still have to put a few parts together, but do you still have to like manually calibrate everything?
Most of the higher end printers actually don't have that now. I mean, there's several printers underneath $1,000 these days that have auto bed leveling and auto calibration.
Under
and stuff
a grand?
Like that. Under $1,000.
Where have I been?
So it's great. Some of the really good, I mean, high-end printers are still under $3,000.
Man.
And really high-end printers are still under $5,000. I mean, the prices have maintained while the quality has gone up, which has been really wonderful.
That's so nice. Now, while you're on the subject about different kinds of printers, MakerBot and PrinterBot were the only names that I really knew about like 4 to 5 years ago. What kind of brands do you have now? Like who's the big name?
The market has really spread all over the place.
I know. Like I see printers all the time at CES, but I'm just like, I have no clue who you are. So who's a good one? So
good ones these days are, I mean, Ultimaker and Lulzbot definitely kind of lead the good quality out of the box pre-built printer.
Okay.
Good kit printers these days is actually from Prusa. They actually make a good little print a kit version.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Well, the reason why is because they were the first people Joseph Prusa, who actually is the owner and inventor, he designed that primary concept. So whenever you see that $200 cheap printer, they used his open source designs to make that. Nice, that's cool. But he makes a really great series of printers. CME CNC makes a really good kit printer as well, and both of those are under $1,000. All right. So and there's still a lot more in just the Chinese market. There's probably 20, 30 companies that are trying to all make rip-offs of each other and stuff like that.
So there's so many to choose from, but like, let's say, I'm gonna ask you for some recommendations. Let's say that I don't have a lot of money, but I wanna get into 3D printing. I just wanna put my feet in the water and see if it's a hobby that I wanna get into. What would you recommend for somebody who can only spend like a few $100?
So the Fisher Price, my first 3D printer that I would usually recommend to people,
exactly.
is the Monoprice Mini. Is kind of my little favorite. It's a sub $200 printer. Okay. And it does a pretty decent job. It doesn't require too much tuning. It's got a very small build volume.
That's nice.
But it's enough to say, I like this industry, I want to do more. Okay. We actually teach an intro class at our place, and as part of the class, we give everybody that printer. Really? Just so that they can go home 3D printing right away.
That's cool, yeah. Kind of get them started into the idea of how to use it and everything like that.
Get them hooked.
Get them hooked, exactly. Now, what if I am a hobbyist and I want to have all that fine tuning and I want to have all that customization abilities?
Well, then you move up and you have to decide, do I want to build my own 3D printer, or do I want a printer that works out of the box? Right. If you want to build your own 3D printer, you get into like the Prusa design. That's probably my favorite, build it yourself printers out there. But other ones to think about is like the Creality CR10 is a good cheap printer. It's about $650 give or take. Okay. And you have to assemble it, but it requires so much tuning and tweaking. I still consider it a kit printer. Gotcha. Good to know. Then you move up into I want a working printer out of the box experience. Yeah. That's definitely where Lulzbot comes in. They make a printer called the Mini, which has a decent size, little small build volume, great printer. It's about $1,250. Okay. Then they make this giant TAS 6 printer, which is about $2,500, and that you can be up and running under an hour on that. And then you also have ones that are like dual extrusion, right? You can do different colors and work with other even more specialty materials. So there's printers that'll do dual extrusion, but they'll have they'll also extrude this PVA material that dissolves in water. So all the supports, you just throw your print in the water. So not all printers are going to use the same exact filaments. There's going to be some printers that can't use like whatever filament you might want to use? Correct. Okay. And it varies, but a big contributor to it is the temperatures. So you have to think about how hot the bed can really get, how hot the nozzle can really get.
Okay, so let's take like the Lulz bot, since we got one shipped here that we're gonna mess with, and I'm super excited about that. Like, what kind of temperatures can that one range?
Well, the extruder itself can get up to 300 degrees. That's how hot it can get the plastic out. So it can work with just about any material right out of the box, because 300 degrees is the ideal temperature to work with. Then you want to make sure your bed will get at least to 100 degrees. As well. A lot of printers still don't have
that was a big
beds.
issue for me when I was messing with printers back in the day. I just couldn't get the temperature to get up to where it needed to be, and I didn't know how to fix it.
And you have to be careful, because some manufacturers out there, especially the cheaper brands and no-name brands, they tend to say, oh, our bed can get up to this temperature and our nozzle can get up to this temperature.
Yeah.
Most of the time, those are just bold-faced lies.
Ooh.
So
I just called you out.
I know, but I tell them, realistically, go and check somebody else that says, I absolutely got it up to this degree. An example of this is like the CR10.
Yeah.
I think it's a great, cheap printer, but they advertise their bed can get up to 100 degrees and their nozzle can get up to 300 degrees. Their bed will never get above 80. Their nozzle's never realistically going to get above 250.
Oh,
so
that's good to know.
You get limited on what materials you can work with.
So that's one thing to pay attention to, and obviously price is another good thing to pay attention to. Is there any other information that you should throw out there for people to pick a 3D printer, as far as like technical specs that they should pay attention to and stuff like that?
The build volume. I tend to find that the bigger the printer, the less quality you can get out of each individual print.
Why is that?
Well, because there's a bigger frame to it. So when you're working with a bigger frame, there's more chances of a little bit of wiggle wobble or Z shapes or anything like that.
Yeah, you got those much longer frames, so like it might move back and forth a little bit.
Just a little bit, and shake just a little bit. And so you decide, how big do you really need to print?
Okay.
If you need to print small stuff all the time and that's all you really think you'll ever print,
just get a little one.
Get a little printer. You don't get the big printer to print little stuff.
Okay.
I have, unfortunately, way too many printers in my house, and if I'm printing something small, I use the little printer. If I'm printing something big, I use the big printer.
How many printers do you have?
I have 9 working in my house.
You have
personally.
9?
Working. I have a graveyard at my house as well. This is not including how much we actually have in our shop running.
Right.
This is just my personal collection.
Okay, so speaking about a collection of printers, do you have any recommendations for how people should store like the filament and the products and things?
Yes. You will notice a lot of kind of information out there, and people say, oh, you need to put all your filaments in these, desiccant-based boxes and vacuum seal them each time you use them and keep them in a container. Here's the thing. You don't want to expose them to water. Take them out, put them on your printer, use them. When you're done, put them back in a Ziploc bag.
Okay.
Now, if you forget and leave your filament out for too long, which is like 4 or 5 days, you left it out there and you're just forgot about it, you can get a food dehydrator and literally just pop the filament in the food dehydrator to dry it back out and use it again. People have done it where they put it in their oven to dry it out and stuff like that. I like to stay away from that because people can screw up their ovens too much and then you just end up with a pile of melted plastic.
Oh no.
And because they set the temperature wrong. Food dehydrators rarely get above a temperature that you have to worry about, so it's perfect for rejuvenating an old spool.
Okay.
I'd like to also say the worst rumor that was ever spread out there was that desiccant is the magical substance.
But I've been told desiccant is amazing.
Yes.
It can save my smartphones.
It's the same kind of, bad rumor of throwing your phone in rice dries it out and saves your phone.
You're telling me that doesn't work?
That doesn't work either. Because if that was true, then rice would become soft at room temperature from all the moisture in the air.
That's a good point.
The same is true with desiccant. It does absorb moisture out of the air.
Okay.
But it only absorbs it, based on there being moisture in the air. It doesn't necessarily suck moisture out of the filament. It keeps moisture from going into the filament.
Okay.
So if you ruined your filament and it's already moist, desiccant's not going to do very much for you.
Good to know.
If you don't ruin it, it's not bad to throw a packet in there.
Okay.
That's the secret.
Well, since we're talking about rumors, are there any other terrible rumors you've seen out there that you just want to debunk while you're here?
Oh boy. There's so many rumors. My favorite is all of the surface prep that's out there. The Aquanet versus glue stick versus tape. And I'll tell you, and I guarantee you, if anybody comments on this, they're all going to, and they're 3D printing people, they all have really strong opinions about painter's tape works the best.
Dude, you see the same thing in InfoSec.
Oh, it's horrible.
Very strong opinions about very specific ways that you should do things.
And the same thing's true here, but I'll tell you this. PEI is the magical substance. And it's my personal preference across the board.
Okay.
The only problem I have with PEI is that when you print ABS or nylons or TPU or TPE materials, you sit there and go, I have to put a little bit of glue stick on there because it sticks too well to PEI.
Oh, okay. So the glue stick ends up making like a little layer between the PEI and your PLA so that when it prints, it doesn't end up filling those pores and not being able to get out.
Well, with PLA, you don't have to worry about it. You don't want glue stick down for PLA. It's for it's more exotic materials.
Oh, okay.
Since most people are printing PLA, I find PEI is just an amazing surface to print on.
Yeah. And you don't have to put anything on it?
You don't have to put anything on it. You have to just keep it really clean.
Where have I been?
So, and then if people that don't want to go mess with PEI, I say use glass.
Yeah.
And then glue stick. By the way, the best rumor I love to say is people that say hairspray is better than glue stick and all that stuff.
Aquanet.
Aquanet. The reason why Aquanet works is because it has PVA in it. The reason why glue stick works is because it has PVA in it.
Oh.
They're the same.
Okay.
The difference is how you apply it.
Right.
And here's the problem. You take hairspray and you spray it on your printer, it goes everywhere.
Yep.
It gets all over your gears, your rods, and everything else.
Yes, it does.
So unless you can remove your plate, take it outside, spray it down, let it dry, put it on your printer, use glue stick so you don't get it all over the rest of your printer.
Cool, good to know. Well, you have a ton that's in store for us. I'm super excited because this is the start of a whole series about 3D printing. I'm super stoked to have you come on board with this. I can't wait to hear more because I feel like I've been missing out for 4 to 5 years. I saw the beginning of it, I got scared, and I left. So I'm really excited to come back and like embrace the whole 3D printing experience.
We'll get you addicted. We'll get you back in. We'll bring you back into the fold.
So we're going to be building a Lulzbot TAS6, correct?
Correct.
We're going to be talking to Lulzbot about doing an open source business model, which is very exciting. I know Darren's excited to talk to him about that. What else are we going to be doing? We'll talk about materials, right?
We're going to go over a lot of materials and just kind of give the gamut of what's going on with materials now.
Yay!
We're also going to do a little episode on Octoprint Octopi.
Ooh.
So we're going to break out the Raspberry Pi.
Sweet.
And then we're going to dive a little bit into Marlin and talk about a few settings in there. Marlin's the firmware that's used on all the 3D printers out there.
Awesome. Cool.
So
well, I can't wait. This is so exciting. Thank you so much, David.
And by the way, I did a nice little extra project that's just for Hak5.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
What is it?
Oh, we're not going to tell you. You're going to have to watch.
Ooh, y'all have to wait. Although I might have posted a little teaser.
Uh-oh.
I think I know what you're talking about. I might have posted a teaser on my Twitter account, but it was my personal Twitter, so there's a lot of people that haven't seen it yet.
There you go.
Yeah, I think I know. Oh, that's going to be really fun. I can't wait to do that one. Well, where can people find you if they're interested and if they have questions about 3D printers? Because I know we will receive some questions.
So they can go to printedsolid.com. We have the normal, Q&A sections.
Cool.
We're on all the social medias, the Instagrams, the Twitters, the Facebook, all that stuff. We're most active with a lot of our support questions on Facebook, so definitely come hit us up over there.
Cool. And you also have a coupon code for Hak5 viewers?
Yeah, we wanted to get it so that they can get they can get a good discount on all these premium filaments. If we're going to get you guys into higher end filaments, we don't want you to, spend extra money.
That's really nice of you.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
And my favorite is that, we spent forever thinking of, a really complicated code that couldn't be hacked and all that stuff.
Totally.
And we came up with it after much deliberation, and it's Hak5.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Write it down, folks.
It's a tricky one.
That's a hard one to remember. Hak5 for 10% off on checkout at printedsolid.com. Cool. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. We're going to have you back next week to build the Lulzbot, I believe. Super looking forward to that. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribe to youtube.com/Hak5. We've also got a feedback email, so you can email us feedback@hak5.org, or you can visit the Hack Shop, which is where, guess what? We got all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, I saw that packet squirrel. I took one home with me.
Oh, did you really?
Yes, I did.
You gonna 3D print a big case for it or something?
Of course. It's got to have a battery pack attached to it.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to see a 3D printed squirrel holding the packet squirrel.
Like a little nut. Oh, I like that.
Wouldn't that be cute?
I like that.
All right, hak5.org to find all of the other shows that we do. And until next time, trust your technolust.
If you have a great idea, bring it to the web the way Shannon and I do and head over to domain.com. With an awesome domain discovery service and a quick and easy checkout process, you'll have the perfect site up and running in no time. And the guys over at domain.com are huge Hak5 fans, which is why HAK5 will save you an extra 20% at domain.com. Or just send them a tweet and say thanks for supporting Hak5 all these years. So, when you think domain names, think domain.com.
Oh my god, I never just give me a wee!
When you're a kid and you want to go wee, but you ain't got drugs yet.
Shannon, your hair looks great.
Thank you, David.
Why did you go back to natural color?
Because I felt the purple was a little too aggressive for the audience. I felt that I needed to go back to my gray.
All right, we're done here.